a prospect on LinkedIn who's posted something about either an initiative they've had in the company where they're helping somebody out in the community, if you repost something like that and add value in the actual post, one, they're going to see it and either like it, comment it, look at your profile. And those are all just triggers to start conversations. Hey, I saw you looked at my profile. Thanks for stopping by. Is there anything I can help with? Anything we should talk about?
What's going on, everybody? It's Morgan J. Ingram here, host of the SDR Chronicles, bringing you motivational tips, tactics, and also advice for your sales development journey as you guys continue to go into sales, and also you have entrepreneurial journey as well, because this is the mantra and vocal point for your career and also for your life, as I believe sales development is used every single day. And today, guys, I have Peyton with me, who is the brand engagement ambassador at Aptera, and we've actually talked couple of times back and forth on LinkedIn. I've liked his content, he's liked my content. So he's now finally here on the SDR Chronicles. And what we're going to talk about today happens to do with LinkedIn, is how to have meaningful conversations on LinkedIn. So Peyton, tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're excited about the topic today.
Yeah, so I started here about 7 months ago, very new to LinkedIn, very green, didn't really know what to expect. I approached LinkedIn initially as a very, very high-level professional. Didn't think anything was – you always get in this debate about is Facebook LinkedIn, is LinkedIn Facebook, very high level. And I kind of thought that it was faux pas to step outside of that realm. And now I play in a very genuine, very authentic space on LinkedIn. I put myself out there in ways that I think a lot of people don't, as far as I want people to know about me before they know what I do. If that makes sense. I want people to know that I like music. I want people to know that I like movies. I want people to know that I played baseball in college. The more things that I put out there, the more people relate to. The more people relate to me, the more they want to have conversations with me. That's where it all stems from.
Yeah, no, and it makes a ton of sense. So you mentioned baseball and missing conversations, movies. How do you intro yourself to have that genuine conversation if you don't know someone?
I think it all stems from making them, the prospect, the focal point. I think a lot of people get caught up in talking to C-level executives and people who make decisions. Those, honestly, are the people that are hardest to get in front of. So you need to have champions on a lower level. You need to engage with people that are underneath those C-level executives to get you to have those conversations with C-level executives. So the way I look at it is there's no such thing as a bad conversation. If I'm just having a conversation with somebody, it might not lead to anything, but they might know somebody who knows somebody that, hey, there's this goofy guy on LinkedIn. He posted, he had this parody on this weird movie the other day, but it related back to marketing somehow. And you know what? Maybe we have a conversation with him. Maybe he can give us something we never thought of. That's the way I look at it, is there's no such thing as a bad conversation. So initially having those conversations most of the time stem from something crazy that I posted, or that's really weird. I never thought of it that way. Can I carve out 10 minutes of your time to just talk about that? It doesn't even have to do with business yet. Just let's have a conversation. If business comes up, it comes up, but it may come up 2 months from now, just based on a movie reference or something that I put out there.
Yeah, and I think that is important. I actually have an example that I talk about a lot that I would kind of just test it out to see what was going on. So this guy was a Wizards fan from DC area. And this was back when Kevin Durant was deciding where he wanted to go. He eventually went to the Warriors and everyone was like, boo, we hate you, whatever. So I was like, all right, because he was supposed to go to the Wizards, back to his hometown. So I was like, all right, man, I saw Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. How do you feel about that? And we had a conversation just about basketball and Kevin Durant. And he was a prospect, but he eventually asked me hey, what do you do? What does your company do? Ended up turning into an opportunity. So I think that's kind of where Peyton's coming from, guys, is understanding that it doesn't always have to be all right, this is my value pitch. It's just have a genuine conversation and just talk to that person and don't expect anything out of it. We were just having a conversation and it happened to lead somewhere.
Yeah. Put yourself in the prospect's shoes. I mean, think of it from anyone who tries to sell you something on LinkedIn. If they go straight for the kill right out of the gate, I mean, your initial thoughts, okay. I mean, now I know you showed me your hands already. We could probably cut bait and we can probably move on. But if they're genuinely interested in what you are about, where you came from, hey, I saw that you went to Michigan. That's awesome. I'm a huge Michigan fan.
Yeah.
Can't believe they lost last week. I mean, anything like that is going to spark a conversation, and it's just going to keep going. Eventually, kind of the rule of thumb is people want to rescue you on LinkedIn or in conversations. Hey, we've been talking a while. What do you do? Like, it's going to come
like,
up.
What's happening? Like the suspense for them is like, what's happening here?
Yeah, it's going to come up. And then that's when you have the chance to go into that commercial that your company has given you to present to people. And as long as you can spin that in a genuine fashion, I think people will always appreciate that.
Yeah. So now we understand what conversation is important. So like, how do I do this? Am I going in the comments? Am I doing in-mail? Am I doing personalized invitations? Like, what are ways that you are starting these conversations, and what avenues have worked and would not work for you?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I work for a marketing company. So in marketing, we always talk about middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, top of the funnel content. So, I mean, anything on the top is you're putting yourself out there. You're posting about things that are important to you, things that interest you. That middle of the funnel, you're sharing something that is company related, something that they put out. And then that bottom of the funnel is you see a prospect on LinkedIn who's posted something about either an initiative they've had in the company where they're helping somebody out in the community. If you repost something like that and add value in the actual post, one, they're going to see it and either like it, comment it, look at your profile. And those are all just triggers to start conversations. Hey, I saw you looked at my profile. Thanks for stopping by. Is there anything I can help with? Anything we should talk about? So as most people know on LinkedIn, if someone likes something of yours, you get a notification. If they comment, you get a notification. Vice versa as well. If you like theirs, you comment on theirs, they're getting notified. Probably going to go back and look at your profile. Hey, we've been following along for a little bit. Should we just connect?
Yeah.
Maybe we have a conversation now. So there's all different types of ways. Sharing people's content's obviously huge.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Like, I never thought of it that way.
Right.
Maybe I post it now. So yeah, there's tons of different triggers on LinkedIn especially.
And how do you find that content? You're just scrolling through the feed? Are you searching for it?
A lot of it is, so we use LinkedIn Navigator at Aptera. So there's obviously advantages of that, but you can actually save leads in LinkedIn Navigator and see all the posts they have without even being connected to them. So then I can share a comment or a post that they've had. If you don't have LinkedIn Navigator, you can actually just search right in the search bar for initiatives that are important to you or initiatives that you're looking for in your company. So if you went to, say, I went to Purdue University. So if I want to type in Purdue University in the search bar, people are posting about Purdue University. I can share something of theirs and say, yeah, I agree, fellow Boilermaker here.
Yeah.
Never thought of it this way. In return, that just starts a whole new web of conversations.
And that's a really good tip right there, because when I went to UG, I could definitely do the same thing. Like, how those conversations led into? Like, have they just been like, oh, that's cool? Have people responded to you? Like, what's been the feedback on that?
Yeah, a lot of people, like I said before, with the whole LinkedIn is Facebook, Facebook is LinkedIn type thing.
Yeah.
People are, you're definitely gonna have the people out there that are like, this isn't relevant to LinkedIn. You should probably keep this off of there. But I always say, until someone shows me the rule book, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna play in the space I know how to play, and it's starting tons of conversations. So I don't think I'm right necessarily, but I think the way I'm doing it is working for me. I think everybody's different, obviously, but if you see success in actually having genuine conversations, that will always lead to business, not always lead to business, but the business conversation will come down the line.
Yeah. It definitely will, because people will see you in the feed. They'll see you actually providing value, and they're going to want to know more about you. Yeah.
My boss always says, be seen and see people. So be seen. If it's
visible,
the biggest compliment I can get is someone calling me on the phone and be like, hey, I see you on LinkedIn all the time. You're always on the top of my feed. That's what I want. I want to be seen by somebody.
Yeah.
So when a problem does come up, they're like, man, those Aptera guys I see them everywhere. We might as well give them a call or reach out.
Yeah. That's how I feel about just making content in general, just putting yourself out there. Like, no one's going to no one's going to know whether or not to trust you if they don't at least see you out there doing something. And maybe it's different 20, 30 years ago, but in this age, like, you have to put yourself out there because it's just giving yourself another unique advantage.
Absolutely. That's it. That's all it is. Being genuine, being authentic, being seen.
Yeah, that's really it. So what are other ways that you're helping yourself being seen? You mentioned that you post crazy stuff. So talk a little bit more about that.
I think it's not necessarily crazy things. It's just things that are important to me and things that I'm passionate about. I kind of pigeonholed myself into some content where I love movies. So I always take lines from movies and insert business things into it. It got to the point where people were actually reaching out to me like, hey, have you thought about doing this Wedding Crashers one? Or and that's just another conversation. Like, people were looking forward to me posting something about something that had nothing to do with anything business related. They were just genuinely interested in what the next thing I was going to do.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that was pretty cool on a personal level, but just like I said, it's another conversation. People get too caught up in the conversion of a prospect to business. And let's be more concerned about conversations. The conversations are going to lead to conversions.
Yeah. So what would you say when you're having these conversations? If someone doesn't ask what you do, are you eventually emailing them or calling them or hitting them up on LinkedIn? Like, what's your strategy if you know that's not really leading to maybe a result that you may want based on that conversation?
I think that anytime you get into a conversation, you can kind of tell based on the interaction. If there's nothing down the line that we can tell. Or I'm not the type of person that's going to end the conversation based on seeing the light at the end of the tunnel that's not going to be there. Yeah. Because, like I said, you never know who that person knows. That person could be your champion into another company. I mean, this guy's a real genuine guy. Maybe you should give this guy a chance. I'm a former baseball coach as well at Purdue, and it was always, you wanted to be trusted by everybody. It's not what you know, it's how you present yourself. And once you get a team to buy into that mantra, they'll run through a brick wall for you. But if you're trying to be the fake it till you make it guy, you get seen through, and it's not ever going to work.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that makes a ton of sense. So this is really good advice. It sounds like you've been doing this for a while. You've been active. You really believe in LinkedIn. I believe in it as well. What is your advice to someone, though, that's starting out? Maybe they're new to a sales role, they're new SDR role. They don't really know where to start. They don't have maybe they're not as open as you are to be like, oh, I can do all these things, right? They don't have that. So where can they begin to start having those meaningful conversations and to be seen as relevant?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is getting out of your own way. When it comes to LinkedIn, is there's always going to be the people that are, I don't know if I should post that. I don't know if that's the right type of way to go about it. Just go for it. Just get out of your own way. Post something, and I'm always the type of guy that asks for forgiveness later. Instead of, do you think I should post this? This is kind of edgy. Just put yourself out there. The biggest step I took was writing a blog. I wrote a blog called a letter to my younger self. And I've never written before. Never in my life have written. And it was kind of hard. It was hard to put yourself out there and kind of confess some things that you did wrong in the past. But I got a lot of engagement on just being genuine, putting yourself out there, letting yourself be vulnerable. I think in sales, you got to be vulnerable, just because if you're that just knight in shining armor all the time, people are going to be like, well, I mean, this guy thinks he's perfect.
Yeah.
You need to be vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a huge part of the success I've had on LinkedIn, for sure.
And and then again, it goes back to that point where people are overthinking their content, overthinking being vulnerable, and overthinking conversations. Like, how does one come over? How do you overcome that, right? Overthinking every single, like, I don't know if I should post this, right? Like, how did you overcome that yourself, and how do other people do that?
I think that I overcame it by the people I surround myself with. The people in leadership here have just encouraged me to be myself and put myself out there. I think that a lot of times in a professional setting, you get into the mode of, well, I don't want to make anybody mad. I don't want to do the wrong thing. But if you just like I said, I have the people around me that empower me to be myself. I think that has been a huge proponent of me just, like I said, just putting myself out there. But as far as getting out of your own way, I think it just comes from a confidence standpoint, I think is where it all comes back to.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you have people around us surrounding you to promote you, to get yourself out there and encouraging you every single day. What would you be advice to leaders that are trying to get their reps to have more meaningful conversations and not only think about like the end result, the transactional?
I would say that you hired them for a reason. Let them be the person you hired. Don't turn them into a robot. I mean, we all obviously have the same end goal of sales or converting prospect into clients, but at the same time, I think that you hired them for a reason. You saw something in an interview process or a phone call that led you believe this is the right guy, not just based on the resume. So let that person shine through. Let them be genuine, and let the world see that person not as just a sales guy, but as a human being.
Yeah, and you have a good point there. You hired them, so you need to let them shine through. But I feel like there's just a lot of people that are clouded by what someone could say on LinkedIn to deteriorate them or to dilute their brand. So they don't let people have those real conversations that they could be having across the board.
Yeah, I see that a lot. We talked to quite a few companies just on the social selling side of things, and they're like, well, our X, Y, and Z, our company has kind of pigeonholed us where we can only share their content. And as well as that is, I mean, as well as I do, when you see someone's professional content on their LinkedIn feed, what do? You just scroll right by. Unless they've added some kind of crazy value on top of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of white noise. You kind of just go right by it.
Yeah.
So you need to have some kind of personal touch. If you share company content, that's great, but at least put in something that's going to add value to me as a person.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm kind of just scrolling right by.
Right. Yeah, I know that really is on the same way. It's like if it's just like a shared piece of content that has no context, then I'm like, okay, like
you didn't put any effort into it.
Yeah, like
should I read it?
So like, yeah, exactly. You're not going to put in effort to click it. It's like you're not going to. Like, it's just not going to happen there.
Nope.
So as you create these meaningful conversations, who are people that you look up to that help you gain the self-awareness to make sure that your content's on point, but also making sure that your conversations are meaningful?
You mean like internally or?
It could be internally or externally. Yeah.
I mean, internally, my boss, his name's Derek Laliberty. I mean, you probably seen him on LinkedIn. Got a big beard. He's like I said, he's really empowered me to be myself on LinkedIn. I think that's the biggest push forward I needed, just to let me be me. But yeah, he allows me to be myself, and I think the only reason why I'm as successful as I am on LinkedIn is just because I have him, I have the company that allows me to be me, because then they know that in the return, in those conversations, I'll be a champion for the company and put them in the right light. So I think there's a lot of trust there. So as long as I don't break that trust, I don't see that changing anytime soon. But Derek definitely is the guy around here when it comes to LinkedIn and social, on the social side of things.
Cool. No, yeah, like I said, I mean, you mentioned it before, but it's important to have that person who's going to continuously push you and put you in the right light. Because I think that's one of the reasons why people don't go as far as they should be, is because they don't have someone pushing them, and they probably have a great idea, and then they're like, you can't do that. And then it's like, all right, well then I won't do it, because you weren't confident, that much confident anyways. Now you're definitely not going to be.
Yeah. And I think for me as a former athlete, I think the competition thing is very high on my list. So I have a counterpart as well. His name's Tyler Spiegel. Mm-hmm. He pushes me, I push him. I'm not necessarily on when it comes to engagement, but just like, hey, have you posted yet today? Or notice you haven't posted anything in a day or so. Like, maybe we should get on that. Just holding each other accountable, pushing each other forward, I think is a huge thing in life and in business. I mean, you got to have someone pushing the ball forward, and you have to be chasing someone, and someone has to be chasing you.
Yeah. That's really what it is. And so you've had a lot of conversations, you've been building your brand, you've been doing your thing. What has been the most meaningful conversation you've had so far? And also, what's been the best piece of advice that you've gotten so far?
Most meaningful conversation probably doesn't even have anything to do with business, but through LinkedIn, I've reconnected to a lot of people from my past that didn't really know what they did. Just having those conversations outside of LinkedIn, like, man, you're really doing your thing on LinkedIn. I'm really proud of the person you've grown up to be. I played hockey growing up, and I had a former hockey coach reach back out to me and said, man, I didn't even know like what happened to you after high school. I knew you played baseball, but haven't really followed along. And now seeing all the stuff that I've posted about, success, downfalls, all that stuff in college, just mentors I had growing up, coming back around and reconnecting, I think LinkedIn's a powerful tool that I didn't even know the power.
Yeah.
And then what was your second question? Sorry, I kind of
the best piece of
emotional on them.
Payne's crying, guys. I'm just kidding. All good. Best piece of advice that you ever got?
It just goes back to being me. I mean, you've done a lot of things in your life, obviously, and there's a reason why you are where you are. Tell that story. Be a storyteller.
Right.
I think that LinkedIn is a perfect platform to be a storyteller and engage with people that have been kind of in the same journey. So those always open up conversations. So the best advice: be confident. Confidence equals preparation equals confidence. This is something I always heard growing up and playing sports. So the more you prepare, the more confident you'll be, and just be yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. So Payne, thank you so much for hopping on the SDR Chronicles today, helping us understand meaningful conversations on LinkedIn. Last question I always ask is, what's the number one piece of advice they have for SDRs as they enter into their new role?
Be fearless. The people that are scared to fail it's going to be a tough run. I mean, you're scared to get hung up on, you're scared to hear no. It's going to be tough. Just be fearless and grind.
Yeah. Love it. Well, Payne, thank you so much for hopping on once again. As I always say, guys, keep dialing, and I'll see you guys soon.
Appreciate it.